That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 157 of That's a Shame, the podcast that just loves to be on time. Humming away in the corner there, hands over his mouth like he's doing some sort of weird bird call. That would be Isaac.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm grand, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Really good.
What's
I've just
grand?
been eating Mickey Rooney.
You have to explain what that is.
Well, I had nooch on top of it, as you know. That's one of my...
Yeah, well, you
also
also don't talk about the nooch. Just tell people what Mickey Rooney is so that we don't have to keep hearing about it.
Special Walt Disney World Mickey Rooney. And I think if you can't get it from that, you don't deserve to know.
It's
on a need-to-know basis.
It's macaroni cheese
with Mickey shaped.
shaped
Until
like
you see
Mickey.
what they did for the name. They were like, Mac. That's a bit like Mick. And then the rest is history.
Yeah,
And that was Walt's dream.
was it?
That specifically was Walt's dream. Everything else he sees as a vehicle
was
very
just
much.
prelude.
Yeah, it's just the fine paperwork between his pen and the triumph of Mickey Rooney. Now digested.
Did he live
in
to
my
see it?
stomach. Acid.
Did he live to see Mickey Rooney?
No, of course not. His brother Roy also didn't.
Oh God!
And in fact, his brother Roy died in a really tragic Mickey Rooney factory incident.
Just in the early days.
In the early days, he was crushed by it.
Fuck.
And only by the powder as well, the cheese powder. So it's quite a way to go.
I'm Declan.
Oh, of course you are.
Enough of an
And
intro
how's your
for
Mickey
you.
Rooney?
Oh, I didn't have it. I made
Metaphorically
myself
speaking,
pasta red sauce.
Okay, so that's the modern man's of Mickey
Yeah,
Rooney.
that's the base upon which, that's the foundation upon which the Church of Mickey Rooney was built.
I suppose that's
Really?
true. And kind of beyond that, branching out from just the most recent culinary affectations of your life, how's it going?
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah?
No.
That's called putting on a brave face, boys and girls. You
God.
might see mummy and daddy coming home every so often, bottle of gin in one hand, cigarette in the other, and you'll say, "How was work, mum?" And she'll say, "Fine, go to your room." And then she'll kick daddy to death.
It's a tale as old as time.
It is, isn't it?
No, it's okay. I'm just very poor.
Very poor of spirit, you mean?
No, of cash.
Okay, right.
Of dollar in the bank.
Okay, you're kind of meek of money.
Because the landlord.
Our previous landlord, yeah.
Yeah, he's got it all.
He's got all of the
He's
money
got
that
loads of it.
You do want to have, and that it used to be yours.
It did used to be mine.
And then you gave
I
it away.
foolishly parted with
Well,
it.
you parted on the understanding that it would be winging its way back.
No, I wasn't that naive.
Okay, so
But
you've said goodbye to it.
oh yeah, no, I kissed it goodbye when I first handed it over. But I was hoping, I think, that I would get at least a penny or two
No,
back, a crumb,
You won't get any of
a
that.
crumb maybe.
I had a phone call, I haven't told you, from our estate agent, Adrienne. I'm sure it's fine to name because I'm sure we've named her before.
Mm-hmm.
She of wet eyes, over divulging very personal information. She's very lovely. We like her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me on Saturday. So a few days after I'd sent my long email response to them, starting the long process of trying to steal from us, I suppose, is not to put too fine a point on it. And after the email, she called up and she said, "Isaac, hi, how are you doing?" And we had a nice little small talk. And then there was this lovely pause where it was like, if we'd been on a park bench together, we would have both just sort of
looked
reclined and
away.
just watched like a swan dallying about its life. And then she turned to me, again metaphorically, said, people often accuse me of being very formal in emails, but you really take it to the next level. And I was like, "Oh, Adrienne, thank you." I said, I'm sorry about that. She said, no, it's perfectly good from a business point of view. I don't know what to take from
What the
that.
other point of view is.
Socially, you're a real cunt. And
I
I've been
can't
personally
see how
robbing
anyone wants to live
every
with you.
penny from you, even at the new flat. What if she turns out to be... We've got this very weird situation in our new flat, obviously,
Yeah.
where we have two female landlords. I don't believe the word landlady is used, because every time our estate agent says anything about them, she calls them the landlords.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I don't know, I guess it's not really gender neutral. The land people. They're both called names like Nicole and Natasha and things like that. And yet our only contact point for the landlord people, when we might want to get, for example, a single light bulb put into this godforsaken dark hell where we where we crawl about
which
blind,
we
like
are proud to call our home.
like newly born moles scradgling through the dirt. That was the verb, scradgling. When you want to contact them, you have to contract an email address that's secretary Regina and then a surname. Well, I'll just say it. It's Secretary Regina Ho.
Ho.
And I won't
Spelled-
say H-O. So it's reasonable to assume that's a name, but
As in like ho, ho, ho.
yes. So, but I thought that was maybe one of these landlord people is the secretary to Regina Ho, and that's their email address. But it turns out that when I email that address to try and speak to either of our landladies, I'm contacting the secretary of Regina Ho. Now, Regina Ho, to my knowledge, has
Nothing to do with this
legal
place.
or geographical connection to flat 34.
She's not on any documentation.
I've Googled her, and the only thing that comes up, in fact, I'll just check now, because I did it before, and it seems to be some sort of like Instagram actor born in February 94. So unless she's set up shop in Colindale, which I don't think is particularly likely,
No.
it just seems like they're fucking with us again. It's just coming from all angles.
Why aren't we just allowed?
I know.
Why aren't we
Things
just
like
allowed
light
things?
bulbs,
Light
money
bulbs.
that we own.
Now, we're not necessarily short of light in the living room anymore.
No, that's true, because we've got a brand new guest in our house. Guest perhaps is too soft a word, because to my mind, we were cucked immediately upon allowing this vampirical device into our homes. Talk us through your relationship with
Well,
it.
I was just out at the Bang Bang
Yeah.
having something to eat, and I had a series of messages from Isaac here, from host and tenant Prime, and he was just asking about, I think we should rent a TV, because we had a very lovely television in our last flat that we had to leave behind, even though we were told we wouldn't have to.
We were told a lot of things.
We were told a
We were
lot.
told a lot of things.
And then when we moved here, we were having to make do amend with Isaac's,
Stalwart,
but outdated,
ancient
hefty,
tube device.
thick.
Yeah, it is for sure.
It's
It's 80% rim,
80% rim, 20% dust,
for sure.
and the rest of it is grains. And it was doing the job.
It meant
Don't
you really
get
had
me
to
wrong.
peer at it, though. I could feel my retina straining at the. They were chomping at the bit, but the bit was my optic nerve.
I wasn't chomping at anything.
Oh, okay, I see.
So Isaac was like, "Yeah, let's rent a television." It's
Because of my great aunt Mary, who for her entire life rented TVs, and everyone thought she was mad for
well, she
doing that.
was.
No, she wasn't.
She was,
It
if
turns
that's
out
a
it's very
permanent
canny.
thing.
No. Turns out you spend a lot less in the long run because you don't have to keep upgrading. You just pay the same amount every month. She knew what she was doing. God rest her soul.
So he was like, "Yeah, we're going to do that, and that way we don't have to worry about buying it off each other at the end of the tenancy."
Or more pressingly, affording a TV,
Yes,
which was
certainly.
never going to happen.
So we all gave this the nod.
Yeah.
Isaac clicked away and ordered this TV.
Yeah.
Now, you happen to drop into conversation somewhat casually
Yeah.
that now the size of the TV, they measured
Because what I'd
televisions.
done was I'd gone just hypothetically. I'd started this process much like when you ascend a water slide and you're lugging one of those big mats or something you can sit on. It's very slow going. There's a queue. It feels like the whole thing's going to take a really long time. And it was on that ascent that I messaged you and Mark to be like, you want to go ahead with this? It seems like a good idea. I was like hypothetically filling out this form. First, they had to do like a credit check. I was climbing up that big slope to Waterslide City. And then all of a sudden, as happens in my analogy, you reach the top and then everything was like much too fast. Like all of a sudden, rather than it being hypothetical, they were like, right, cool, sign here, direct debit every month. And I was like, okay, I just need to message either of the people who will also be paying this. And she put me on hold for like 5 minutes. And then there was no opportunity to even consider changing what I'd originally clicked, which had been like the biggest thing, just like I say, just to see how much it would come to. Turns out it's quite reasonable. We're paying like 15 quid a month each. It's
not bad at all.
But what the problem is, I suppose, is that it's bigger than one of God's own eyes.
It is the most disgustingly large machine.
And I saw the man wheeling it off the back of a van, and he was a large man, large of spirit, but yay, large of frame. And he was entirely obscured by the box, which came barely into the flat. It barely like pivoted around the corner to get in. And it was
How did they bring it in the lift?
Yeah, they brought it in the lift. They brought it on a special trolley.
I refuse to believe that fit in the lift.
Only they had to take it sort of sideways and like at an angle, like a Weekend at Bernie's sort of TV.
It is 65 inches,
which is
corner to corner.
That's too many inches.
There's more inches than needed.
Yeah.
It's actually wider and indeed taller than the table upon which it sits.
Yes. We've had to move all our furniture next door so that you can watch it through a series of complicated mirrors, like an Indiana Jones puzzle.
It has a little servant built into it.
Your pal Bixby.
Well, no, your
No,
pal.
I see Bixby as our pal.
Well, you're cheating on Google and Siri with Bixby.
Because Bixby is fundamentally very useless and has a stupid name.
It does rap though.
Well, in a sense, yeah. Not
I told you a very fun story.
really good. Confusing.
So the flat is actually brighter than ever.
Yeah.
Because if it's on,
Well,
that's
it.
like a whole wall just being
You can
a
simulate
light.
You can simulate like day-night cycles with the TV by just turning the brightness up a bit.
There's a function that anyone who has a Chromecast will know where you can cast YouTube to the television.
Oh yeah.
And when you cue a video, there's a little box comes up in the bottom right-hand corner of
thumbnail.
the screen. Yeah, a little thumbnail saying, hey, this is what you've queued. And on this television, that box is bigger than most televisions.
Than the old one, definitely,
It's just huge.
It's obscene, isn't it? And it's
Well, it's against God.
it's again, well, for sure. Do you think it makes people judge us though? Do you think that people are, all those guests that we have over, they'll be like, oh, a bit gauche.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I think so too.
But if we'd had the old TV, they'd have taken pity on us.
been like,
Sorry.
oh, but-
On the screen at the moment is the shopping channel. And a woman is using the
mouse-shaped knife.
the thickest cheese knife you've ever seen in the shape of a mouse.
Yeah, it's a nice.
To
mouse.
absolutely massacre a wheel of cheese. There's never been a worse advert for a device designed
No, I
to
think
cut.
she's selling that service where she'll come and crumble your brie for you. It's really powerful. Now look, I made one of my spur of the moment pledges in the last episode. You know me, I'm an impulsive kind of guy.
You love it.
The moment will sweep me up like a current, like a fish trapped in a current, and it's sailing it off to Tomorrow Town. And last week's current was this enjoyment that I know we share and the Shame City community at large share for Halloween, the spookiest night of the year, the night where the membrane, the porcelain membrane between hither and thither is so thin that you could sharpen your fingernail to a point with your teeth, like I'm doing now, and just scratch through it like a dirty
And let all the
chick,
ghosts out.
like a dirty chick escaping its egg.
Or let them in.
Let them in, yeah. That's
it.
Because ghosts don't have nails, so that's why.
No.
That's why it's incumbent on us to let them in.
To be fair, we don't really need to do that because we've got plenty of ghosts here already.
Ghosts, yeah, that's for sure. Halloween is fast approaching, and my commitment, therefore, was that for every week, much like the countdown to mine and Jesus's birthday, or from mine to Jesus's, Advent, you guys might call it, we'd memorialise and commemorate Halloween and the Halloween build-up, because it's a bit of a flash in the pan holiday. I think you'll agree. It's here and it's gone. 30th, 31st, maybe the 1st, although that's All Saints' Day. which is really the antithesis.
Yeah, like
And then it's over for another year.
yeah. I mean, apart from in the houses in which we live,
Yeah,
where the
well, I
decks
tried to-
stay up all year round.
And I haven't put them up yet, but that's
no.
out of respect.
For most people, it's not like Christmas where it lingers
Yeah.
before and after. It's like, oh, tomorrow's Halloween, and then it's like yesterday was Halloween, and you
that's-
barely knew it was there.
It's sad, isn't it? Because especially because so much of Halloween is about the night time of Halloween, that's already you're cutting it down to like a 5-hour window to maximise the fear and fun.
2 hours of that is spent watching Trick or Treat,
Yeah, every year.
and so you're just down to 3. And by the time you've scratched through the veil between the worlds,
And gone maybe back through some of the special features for Trick or Treat,
yeah,
just
or
so that you can.
once you've drunk a bit of wine and done a ritual,
That's it. You might as well.
whole
it's
thing's
November
done.
before you know. it.
yeah.
So to remedy that, we've prepared a build-up, a reason for the season Halloween edition of TAS. And today's theme is twofold. First of all, it struck me as I was browsing the Halloween section in Poundland, or Poundland as I know you like to call it. Just the other
no,
day.
don't do that.
Like it's one of the home counties. Hertfordshire and Poundland.
Will you stop?
So I
You
was in
accuse
there.
me of a lot of terrible things.
I was in there
and
and I
that's one of the worst.
I was gazing at all the Halloween decorations, and a family went past, and there was a little kid, sweet little thing, the light of God in its eyes, I think, was what I
Right.
saw.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what I picked up on. It could have been the reflection of fluorescent tube above.
No,
but I'm
much
going
more
light
likely
of
to be
God.
God.
And his eyes, he must have been 6 or something. They just lit up. They were like saucers looking.
I thought they were already lit up
They lit
with the
up
light of
twice.
God.
Yeah.
With a light brighter than his
No,
own.
it was like God squared. It was huge.
Oh,
It
goodness.
was like staring into a Belisha beacon. It was
Goodness.
like Flannan Isle, and oh no, except not like that because the light went off because they all mysteriously
died.
vanished. Wonder what happened to those guys. That could be a Dial M episode. Dial M
I think
Crime
so.
on it. Anyway,
Don't give away the ideas.
wait, yeah, scratch that, guys. You couldn't
But
have
we
it.
definitely won't do that.
And if you do, we definitely will sue.
yeah.
He was staring at all the Halloween decorations and masks, and yes, they're horrible and all rubberized, and they'll leave a weird residue.
Well, and cheap.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's Poundland, so.
It's cheap, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what I like, though. That's what I like. You get variety.
Yeah, but what I mean is like you don't want a cheap mask.
I do think you do. I
No,
think you
because
wanna
it's
feel-
like getting, you wouldn't go for a cheap wig if you actually needed one, would you?
Well, but for Halloween, I think you've got to be thrifty. No,
Is that what it's about?
it's a thrifty time of year.
It's about ghosts, but it's about
Well,
not being a spendthrift.
What's one of the things that ghosts tell us, I suppose, is that you can take all your material goods into the next life because they come back dressed as a reaper with a scythe.
Right, so wouldn't you want to like make sure they were good quality so they're going to last?
No, you want to make sure you've got the most so you can flex on all the other stupid ghosts with only one fucking hood.
One sheet.
Yeah. While you're there with like maybe 8 to 10 different knockoff. It'll be like instead
Witches'
of Ghostface, it'll be
fingers.
like what would it be? The Scream one.
Some of those fangs where you can't then talk.
I love them fangs, yeah. I can taste them now, actually. I can feel them cutting into my gums as if it was
It
yesterday.
is good.
Really good. Anyway, he was there gazing and he stopped in the aisle and it was a really nice, like, Dickensian moment. He was like, Mum, look. And she said, Halloween's stupid. And led him away. And his little face was crestfallen. And I was there just to buy some fudge, but I thought a braver man than I would have purchased everything on that Halloween aisle. Like, I take the lot style, Harry Potter,
Yeah.
where he's dunking on Ron.
For being an
Poor old
absolute
Ron.
povo.
By buying something and just like maybe home aloning, like reverse pickpocketing it into the mum's hood. I don't know how you do these things, but I didn't do that. What I did instead was have my eyes opened in a most profound and unpleasant way to the idea that there are people out there, and this may shock you, for whom Halloween is not the fun orange delight that you and I know it to be.
You talk about my family.
Well, go on, they're not big fans.
They're not huge fans.
Why is that? Is it because of the inherent?
To be fair, we did we used to do Halloween stuff when we were kids, but as soon as it got beyond like, oh, Nan's going to take a picture, quick put on the cape.
Right, that's not a traditional Halloween.
Yeah, no, that
game.
is. Yeah, yeah.
That could be hours
Well, you
of
didn't
fun.
play that. Oh, goodness me. It was like I've forgotten.
Really? So you were not like out trick or treating yourself?
I've actually never been trick or
Until-
No, I went trick or treating once.
Okay, maybe this year we'll go around
All
the
right.
floor.
So we're going to go around a building filled with people who want to bleach the homeless out of
No, to
out
be
of
fair,
Colindale.
that's where we used to live, not where we live now.
Oh, I see. They just want to. These guys just want to lock them out.
Probably,
Yeah.
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 It's a really nice place
And
to
ask
live.
if they want to give us stuff.
free candies.
They've got a locked front door system.
Sorry, I've just had a great eureka moment. Candy is what you get at Halloween, but if you were to say it differently, it's like can die, and that's something that
What do you
ghosts want you to do. They want to know if
They want me to
if
can
you
die.
Can die. That's just something to think of. That's a bit of wordplay.
I actually have completed thinking about that.
It was fun,
I've analysed it from
was
every
fun while it
angle, and
lasted.
it was.
So look, I've scoured the web, the World Wide Web, not the dark web. I don't know how to get on there, and it frankly scares me to think about it. The light web.
Do you not think?
God's own way.
Do you not think that there's maybe some incredible Halloween content on the dark web?
If by Halloween content you mean
Prime.
snuff porn, then for sure.
It's a lot of ghost origin
Wow.
stories.
It's Jack Skellington punching a guy's head in with knuckle dusters. Oh, it's lovely to be alive in the internet age.
Yeah, it's good.
The first place that I started was tripadvisor.com, I mean. And that was because I was trying to find emblematic Halloween locations to see what kind of complaints people would have about them. And I looked at Thorpe Park. But you'll be pleased to know, and you'll be in agreement as well, with the
No,
idea that
there's not a-
it's a 5-star
it's a
resort. and
flawless-
There's nothing to complain about.
Flawless
They're
dearth
chucking
of
in,
spit,
yeah,
if
free,
anything.
free mouth hosing, whatever you need. It's really good. But I did find instead just a review of Halloween. Now I don't know what that is because it seems to be a location, but there was no address, there was no picture, and there's only one review.
And it's just called Halloween.
It was just called Halloween.
So someone's popped on to just review
Yeah.
the season.
Moo Farm specifically. Am I the only miserable killjoy out here? I went into Asda this morning. They have a whole aisle of decorations spelt like island rather than shopping aisle. Quote, fun props, brackets, like a gravestone saying, you'll be next, WTF, and quote, party food for the big day. Where the feck, now that's PG, has all this come from? When I was a kid, there was no Halloween, just a lovely big Guy Fawkes.
There was no Halloween. When?
Well, this person
How
must
old
be
is this person?
Very ancient. There was no Halloween, just a lovely big Guy Fawkes with making the guy weeks before and having a big party on the night.
Weeks before.
Yeah, you've got to
Why?
prep your guy.
They
Have
were
you ever
just
made a guy?
yeah.
Have you? I've never.
Yeah.
I guess it's a bit of a countryside thing to do.
What? Essex. It's all right. Apart from the fact that my dad left it in my room and then I woke up and there
It
was
was
it
there.
was just sat on my desk.
Just a big effigy.
Scared the shit out of me.
Quite horrid, isn't it, really, the old Guy Fawkes tradition?
Hmm.
Having a big party on the night in the back garden and a bonfire and a squitty little fireworks. I hate that.
Don't say that.
And all our neighbours doing the same thing. Okay, I'm getting carried away with nostalgia here. 3 exclamation marks. I literally dread this time of year now. I hate the whole concept of Halloween and trick and treating. And not
Trick and treating.
my children really resent that I won't let them do it when a lot of their friends do. I totally disagree in principle with letting children knock on strange doors to beg for sweets with the threat of a trick if you don't cough up, brackets, the sweets.
Okay.
I suppose it's okay when it's cute kids with parents, but half the time it's ominous teens in scream costumes wanting money, which is just wrong in my book. And
Wanting money.
just been
She's
mugged.
been fleeced.
And if it freaks me out, how is going to make a 90-year-old living on her own feet?
Living on her own 2 feet.
Come Halloween this year, my children won't be speaking to me. And I will have the front lights off and the doorbell batteries in bin so I can ignore everyone. I can't be the only one, can I? No reply.
And you reply, no.
No
Oh,
replies,
God.
weirdly.
That's strange. No one wanted to just jump on board with the
The Halloween
the
cynicism.
discourse.
And it's an interesting dilemma that is raised by Moo Farm, which is like the trick-or-treating cut-off age, which is fair enough. Like, I think if we went around trick-or-treating, people would call the police. But 15, like that's fine. 16, 17, you'd get on board with.
If you want.
24,
No.
19 then. But I would suggest it depends more on the person. If you were a very non-threatening
Yeah, I
30-year-old,
I haven't been able to do it since
babyhood, I think I could get away with trick-or-treating because you said the other day I could pass for 17, I think. You said if I shaved I could pass for 19.
I didn't say that at all.
That's what I think you said.
You said that.
No, I think you
I said
said
that
it.
you were too grey.
Is there such a thing though? There are grey kids out there.
Don't talk about
There are
that.
some
What do you
grey
mean?
kids.
Who are you on about?
There's a kid in my school.
Where have you been
now,
looking?
What was his name? Slim or something he was called. It had an H in there.
Slim?
Yeah, it was like Schlim, I think.
You think his name was Slim? There was an
wasn't
H in
it?
there
He was
somewhere.
grey.
His name was Schlim.
He had grey hair from the age
Grey-haired
of 13.
Schlim.
No, another
You
place.
can't just make this
I
up.
didn't make it up. It's all there in black and white.
I think that it's dependent upon, like,
What you're dressed
it's
up as.
adjacent to what you said. I think it's dependent upon what sort of trick you look like you would be pulling.
Uh-huh.
Because for me, it does look like murder.
The ultimate trick.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Whereas for you, I think it's, again, no good, but you just look like you'd do something super sneaky to them.
I'd probably implant eggs under their skin of different lice. And then just let them go to town.
That is a trick.
Yeah, it is. It's
That
good
is a
one.
trick.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And they've risked that rather than give you a couple of mawam.
Yeah, no, people have never turned me down. I was always a very successful trick-or-treater, as you can imagine. Haggling at the doorstep sometimes. Sometimes you just wait, use the old silence against them when they offer something so that they'll offer more. And one time a lovely old lady provided me a jar of homemade quince jam.
I remember
the
you
age of
saying this,
9,
yeah.
Which really floated someone's boat.
And you just took
When I
that happily.
smashed her head with the jar and said,
Put some bugs
"Bitch,
in her
better have
eyes.
my money. Pay me what you owe me." Another place that has problems with Halloween, outside of the kind of review sphere and the fun places to be town that is TripAdvisor, is the hyper-religious amongst us. Can you think why that might be? Does anything stand out?
Well, they don't like the implication that something so anti-God could be going on. Or indeed, if it is going on,
Yeah.
that it should be celebrated.
Yeah. One thing I didn't get about the opposition of like religious people to Halloween is that most people who are, not religious, so most just general folk,
Secular.
they don't ever go out of their way to accept any like positive miracles. Whereas if you're celebrating that Halloween exists and thereby promoting some kind of devil worship, it kind of tacitly implies that God is also there. So it's a win in my book.
You think it's in your book?
for the
I mean, it's
Christian-
probably a long-standing thing because it's a pagan holiday, isn't it?
it is.
So they just don't like it on principle. But also, you can't, because if there's all these ghosts coming back,
Yeah.
that kind of implies that Jesus wasn't all that special.
No, he really was, because he didn't come back as just ghosts. He
no,
came
but,
back as flesh.
But
and
like
blood.
then the Holy Ghost,
Yeah,
it really dilutes his influence, I think.
I guess so. I see your point. Forge today, I think this is the Jehovah's Witness people, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think. Those who celebrate Halloween fall broadly into two camps. Those who know nothing of the event's occult connections, and those who simply will not care. Which one do you see yourself?
I'm all three. I don't know about them,
You don't care about
and I wouldn't and can't care.
Okay, fair. With its dressing up, trick-or-treating and carved pumpkins, 31 October seems little more than an innocent exercise in creativity and frivolity. In a phrase, harmless fun. Agreed?
End of
Wrong.
review. Oh,
This
it's got me.
is exactly how a majority of today's public see and celebrate the event. The night's an excuse for a party, and not just any party, with its theme, even decor, predetermined by the evil occasion itself. It's a doddle to organise. Maximum fun with minimum stress. So far they sound like they're
It
kind of
sounds
selling it. Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
But, and it's a big but,
Oh, no.
what it actually symbolises is far more sinister.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I'm glad you asked. The practice that began the tradition celebrated the merging of seasons and the living and the dead.
Oh, okay.
So it's
yeah.
not just seasons. And I would have put living and dead first, but no.
Well, you don't want to. I mean, you want to like save the best till last,
I
don't
guess.
you?
when
Because
we,
if you say living in the dead, people
And
are like,
then-
wow. And then you're like, and also the merge of
yeah,
seasons.
so I don't care about that bit. When we brand the celebration of evil as harmless fun, it's clear that something, somewhere, has gone very wrong. It's deemed unacceptable to dress up as a Nazi or praise Hitler's ideology.
It is.
How is celebrating any other forms of evil any more justifiable?
Oh,
Over to
because
you.
they're not real.
What, you tell me ghosts aren't real?
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Witches?
No.
Or the other one?
Come on.
Vampires?
That's true. No.
Vampirates?
Not even a bit.
Fine.
In fact, even less than either.
The assumption is that evil is ugly, obvious, and comes from external sources. It infers that evil will knock politely at your door and play more or less harmless pranks should you resist. This says nothing of the tempting nature of evil.
I don't think it does.
No, it does, because when trick-or-treaters come to your door, if you really wanted to, you could probably overpower them. But when evil attacks...
You could fucking yeet those kids right back into the road.
But when evil attacks and we try to defy it alone, the consequences far exceed an egg smashed over your windows or flour thrown at your car. From my Christian perspective, and this is the author, not me, because from my Christian perspective it's quite different. It's clear that evil should never be undermined. Not only is it on offer all year round,
Evil should never be undermined.
Yeah.
So we should let it continue.
evil can be incredibly attractive. If and when the scary masks of youth get swapped for the costumes of young adulthood, a la Mean Girls, a sentence which I cannot begin to pass.
Oh,
Go on.
I thought you said Allah Mean Girls. And I was like, what are they on about?
At least some of the true alluring nature of evil is reflected. And Christians also believe that while evil can't be defeated alone, the power and grace of God can save them. Maybe throw a light party as an alternative to Halloween celebrations. It might not be the perfect solution, but it does teach children to celebrate good over bad. So
What are sort of some costume ideas for this light party? What's the opposite of a ghost? You just go yourself.
get covered in meat. Like that Lady Gaga dress.
I have a feeling you're going to inspire more evil
No,
if you
that's
walk in covered in meat.
The most corporeal thing
Is everyone
meat, isn't it?
Is everyone going covered in meat?
Yeah,
then?
not the same types of meat.
No.
One person will be mince.
That
one person
party is
bacon.
going to reek to high hell.
We could spray it all with varnish before. How about that? So it's all like slightly cemented.
So everyone's coming as varnished meats.
Yes.
And that's pro God.
What's the like pro God version of carving a pumpkin? What's like if a pumpkin is an evil? No, but a pumpkin is good, isn't it? Because it's to get rid of the bad. So the opposite would be something which warded off the good, and thereby kind of undid the light party summarily.
You get a pumpkin and you like build onto it.
For those who celebrate Halloween in true ignorance, as you carve your pumpkins and pick out your costumes, take a moment, Declan, to consider the true implications of your actions. A lack of understanding can never fully justify endorsement of evil. And the fact is that however it is marketed, this night attempts to celebrate evil. And for those who simply don't care, well, perhaps you should.
Oh, that's such a poor argument. You don't care. Have you tried caring?
So you're probably one round by that one already.
Well,
But I have got
cancel the show.
another angle just to hit you with.
oh, okay.
And this one I knew was going to be good because when I opened the website, which is charismanews.com,
Classic.
I got a pop-up. And you know pop-ups are normally advertising a good or services.
Yes.
This was no different. Battle the evil forces of the spiritual realm, shouts the heading. Decoding the Antichrist in the end times helps to understand what the Bible says about the end times and what the future holds. Jezebel's war with America unveils the plot to destroy our big country and equips us with tools to turn the tide. Order this bundle now. So I have ordered it for you,
Oh,
and it should be on its way.
it's on its
So
way.
that's just like, it said it could take up to 6 weeks for international
Oh, okay.
delivery.
So not in time for
for Halloween.
For
No,
Halloween.
but then it's a case of prolonging.
Oh, I see. Okay. And what is it?
I think I read it's decoding the Antichrist in the end times. That's going to help you understand what the Bible says.
Right, but what does it mean?
Jezebel's war with America unveils the plot to destroy our big country, and it would equip you with tools to turn the tide.
So is it some stories? Is it some books, or is it?
No, I don't know. It's not. It's free, but it has to be delivered. So, anthrax.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
that's
yeah.
fair enough. The more warriors we have,
Yeah. On October 31st, most people will simply ignore the dark side of Halloween. The vast majority will dress up in costumes, go to parties and eat candy, as we know,
Don't.
without ever even considering where the holiday came from or what certain people are doing behind closed doors. Any idea what he might mean by that?
Well, I think he's talking about noncing.
On Halloween, is that a
Yeah.
good night for it?
Yeah, well, you've got kids in costume
Right.
coming to your door.
It's like a delivery
Yeah,
service
exactly.
for a nonce. Yeah, I
And then
guess
you open, and then you sort of reverse. You're like trick or treat, and they're like, "Oh, I
that'll
was
put them on
gonna,
the back foot.
yeah," because
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I was gonna," and he's like, "Oh,
Too late.
yeah."
Yeah, that's how it happens. All over America, those who are deep into the dark arts will contact the dead, cast big spells, and conduct blood sacrifices.
Sorry, they're gonna cast big spells. Oh,
Well, it's a big
God.
night, isn't it? You can't be casting moderate.
You don't want to just
average spells.
no.
As you will see below, there's a reason why animal shelters ban the adoption of cats this time of the year. So that's just a little teaser, we call that in the industry.
Oh, it's because people get them as a sort of novelty, and they
No,
look after them
it's
properly.
because of big spells.
Is
That's
it? Is it because of big
that's
spells?
very naive of you.
Have I been believing the liberal media again?
Really.
Oh,
You've been
fuck.
dare I say, taken in by the MSM.
I have.
Even our innocent Halloween traditions, and innocent is in scare quotes, such as dressing up in costumes, trick-or-treating, and carving jack-o'-lanterns, all have their roots in ancient practices. And every year, the costumes for our girls become even more sexually suggestive.
That has its roots
In
in our ancient civilizations
Yeah, it
as well.
does.
I
the
think.
horror movies, I'm sure you'll agree, even more demonic. And the public fascination with the occult just continues to grow.
I love the idea that there was someone, backstage at like Twisted Pictures or something, who was like,
Make it 5% more demonic.
he's like, if we're going to hit the targets, boys, the films are going to have to be far more demonic than the 70s. You got to up that demon quota.
Verily, it is a festival of death, but most people don't seem to care. Now, we solved that argument last time because Katie, what's her name, said, well, maybe you should care.
But also, it's life and death, isn't it?
What do you mean by
It
that?
was about the living and the dead. It's not just about death.
Halloween is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose so. But that doesn't excuse the death part. Why not just celebrate the life is, I guess, what we'd say
Oh, I see.
in the Christianity.
No, well, you've got me there.
One thing that I think you picked up on quite well was this aspect. I think you used the word noncing to describe it. And it
yeah.
turns out that is happening wholesale on Halloween.
No way.
But it's to kittens. Now, I don't know if you saw that little twist coming.
Oh,
But the kittens...
I think we use a different word,
There's kitten diddling,
no.
plain and simple. It's the week of
Who's
Halloween.
kiddling?
And maybe you don't know this, but if you suddenly wanted to adopt a cat, you'd have a hard time. Hard time. That's because, thanks to their association with witchcraft, accepted wisdom holds that Halloween is a time when people sexually mutilate cats.
No, they don't.
So let's just be ourselves for a moment.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this before?
No.
It cannot be a thing.
It simply does not happen.
To test if this really was still accepted wisdom, I contacted some animal shelters, and they all told me they wouldn't let me adopt a cat.
Well, of course they fucking
After
wouldn't.
I told them
After I
about-
spent 30 minutes telling them
Salivating.
about the sexualized ritual killing of cats.
One of them was willing to talk to me on the phone and explain if someone were to call and ask specifically for a black cat, that would trigger the policy. I'd say, not today. You may not want to believe it, but animals and children, little children, will be killed and abused on Halloween night.
So it is kids as well. I love that they really buried the lead there with the cat element that actually also.
The following is what one ex-witch has shared regarding her experiences. My parents told me before we went around the neighbourhood, we were going to go... We're back. A witch intervened. My parents told me, this is the next witch's testimony. Before we went around the neighbourhood, we were going to go by the church to get candy and such. The church was close to grandmother's, and I knew so from going often. I don't know why that's relevant.
No.
We went to the church, and what happened next made my blood curdle. I was given candy, but that was just a prelude to the sex that would happen in a satanic ritual. On Halloween, Satanists use youngs, such as myself, to worship. Other children receive a far worse fate. brackets death.
Oh, thanks for specifying.
I know for some this is more than you can
Sorry,
even-
is this person? Do they like? They seem to have
Sorry.
admitted in one sentence, but moved on in the next that they got given candy by the church
It's unclear.
and then got.
Well, I don't know what's going on at all, but that's why I'm presenting it to you to just get a clean take.
Right.
I know for some, and I think we count ourselves amongst this is more than you can even think to believe. But it is true. And this is an ex-witch. I can barely write these words because the truth is almost more than I can bear. If it wasn't for the grace and love of Jesus, I would not be here writing this at all. You can say it doesn't mean that to me, but you're just fooling yourself. Could you take a satanic black mass and turn it into a celebration of Jesus? Declan?
Yeah. No,
Of course not.
Hands.
Of course not.
Hands down. I could.
And yet so many
Don't
Christians-
underestimate me.
No. So many Christians embrace Halloween and pretend there's nothing wrong with it. Satanists embrace what the holiday has become and do not feel the need to be tied to ancient practices. This night, they smile at the amateur explorers of their own inner darkness. For we know that they enjoy their brief dip into the shadow world, which is what we'll be doing in our ritual segment coming up.
Have we got a new one?
We encourage their candied indulgence, the wide-ranging evocation of aesthetics, while tolerating some of the versions more chintzy than others. What does chintzy mean? Is it like twee?
I think so.
Even if it is but once a year. For the rest of the time, when those not of our meta-tribe shake their heads in wonder at us, we can point out that they may find some understanding by examining their own Hallows Eve's doing. Think of the Addams Family, we say, and you'll begin to see what we're about. Thoughts? I don't know about you, it's making a lot of sense.
I don't know what the last 2 minutes of what you said means. Something about the Addams Family are all chintzy.
The last place I checked for Halloween info was the hallowed halls of WikiHow.
Oh, of course.
Because I thought, we don't want to leave people on the downer that is all of this Hallow hate, when in fact what we should be giving them is Hallow help. And I did just come up with that term, but I think it's one we'll want to use throughout the month.
Okay.
So you maybe make
Hallow help.
Yeah.
Let me just write that
That could be
down.
a segment. I don't see you writing.
Yeah, I'm just writing it.
Okay, in your memories, you mean?
No, just on the table.
One of the articles that I found and I thought would be really helpful for us, because of its kind of frugal leaning, is how to decorate your yard for Halloween with or without money. It was uploaded December 2017, and it offers simply the byline, want to decorate your yard for Halloween and make it scary? With or without money, this is how you can do it. So there are two methods here,
Right, I see. One with.
and one without.
Wow, that is
See
good.
if you can see any differences between them.
Okay.
Method one, with money.
Buy
A
a
service,
whole fuck
a
ton.
graveyard, move next to it. Number one, clean up your yard. Rake leaves, pick up trash, animal litter, and mow the lawns. This is already a very bougie environment because our yard is a balcony.
Yeah.
Number two, gather your supplies. You'll want to take a trip to the store. Have pumpkins, skeletons, tombstones, coffins, signs.
Doesn't say that any of these are like fake or novelty.
No,
just
no.
have skeletons.
Then you've got to draw it out as you want it to be. Then you basically rest of the fucking outlet. Number five is look at the house. Does it need anything fixed? Does something look not right? Fix it. Method two, without money. Number one, clean up your yard. Now you're going to want to rake those leaves, pick up trash and animal litter, and mow the lawn.
I don't like the phrase animal litter.
Now, number two,
I have to say.
we're not going to be going to the store this time. But what we are
Well,
going to
no.
take out is some cardboard.
And do the poor just have that lying around?
Well, if they don't, then the other option is puffballs. So it's take out
Sorry?
some cardboard puffballs
What?
and coloured paper.
What? What?
To make tombstones.
Sorry.
Puffballs,
Yeah, but what?
Well, for Halloween.
But what is that?
It's just if you haven't got money, because this is method two.
No, but what are they?
Well, they'll be going in the yard.
Yeah, but are they?
To make tombstones, shape the cardboard as a tombstone.
Ah,
Using Sharpie.
that's often where I'm going wrong.
Right, R.I.P. Now that would just... that's what we call a finishing touch.
That really just hammers it home. Because if you messed up a little bit on the tombstone shape
Yeah.
part of that,
Well,
the RIP, the RIP,
It will
it just
sell it. It will
it brings
sell
it.
Number four, make spiders. Use puffballs.
Stop talking about this. What
Glue
do you
8
mean?
pipe cleaners
Is there
to
a
the
picture
puffball.
of it? What is it?
Yeah, here's a picture.
But it's that's just they just bought a
Toy
spider from the store.
Yeah. But you can use puffballs and pip cleaners. Glue 8 pip cleaners to the puffball, then glue the eyes. There you have it. Simple.
It says pipe.
No, it says pip.
It does not say pip.
Let me zoom in. Pip
Oh,
cleaners.
why is it saying pip cleaners?
It's better, I
It's
think.
not a thing.
Number 5, if you've got no money, make pumpkins. Number 6.
What do you mean? Out of the cardboard or
No,
just
no,
months
just
in
make
advance?
Number 6, if you find anything creepy lying around the house, like, this is a great like, an old broken doll or some test tubes, set it up at your doorstep.
Which the poor, let me tell you,
move
you can't get around the house. Even here in this new flat, test tubes are plenty.
Fill the test tubes with green coloured liquid and see if you can add a bit of dirt to add effect.
See if you can. What are the obstacles?
Now, number 7 and 8 are very functional steps. Number 7 is now decorate. Hang pumpkins,
Hang pumpkins.
spiders.
Hang the pumpkins that you wrought into existence.
So, hang the spiders and I don't like this term. Put in the tombstones.
Why is everything else
Exactly where they
hanging?
go. And then number 8 is just fix everything.
Fix everything.
So there you go. That's a kind of like I put that out there because I know our listenership. We, as a very left wing podcast, we're out there with everyone. We breach all of the class boundaries.
Exactly.
We're down there with princes and we're up there with paupers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you noticed, but I personally I don't see class, so I might have accidentally like mixed those up.
What do you mean?
Well, I think I said down with princes and up with. That's just the thing I do because like it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, I thought you meant like down with.
No, I was just being like because everyone's equal.
I think it's gone over my head,
Yeah, it
frankly,
probably does.
but
It's
you
political.
can talk to me about it afterwards.
What else I wanted to find was like, so we've covered all sides. of-
Yeah, I just want to say, like, thanks for reading that.
No, that's fine.
Because I think that we should probably take that on board
Yeah.
just over the next couple of weeks because it's what the 14th
Yeah.
in about an
Are you
hour
going
or
to
so.
fix everything?
No, I won't be. But what I'm thinking is, if it's the 14th, then we've got what
16 days?
17 days
17, yeah.
until like just keep an eye out around the house because
For
I
anything,
know
any, like,
that
test
there'll be
tubes.
some test tubes somewhere, like
I
a petri
have seen
dish.
some dirt.
We've got no, the dirt is not a problem. Like,
Yeah.
that's not going to be an issue for us. But we need something spooky to put the dirt in
Yeah.
because
A mug?
otherwise,
No, not
it's
a mug.
not quite.
It's not. You never
Not-
see a ghost with a mug.
no,
A big mug, like your sports director one.
no, that's closer.
It is closer
because
the scale will really.
yeah, and also like the abuse of sort of worker rights. That is about as spooky as it gets.
Yeah,
so
that's really, that's out there.
shivers the spine.
The last thing that I wanted to do was find something that can bring us all together, something universal. And Halloween, it's a tropey time of year. We've got the pumpkin spice latte.
Love it.
We've got the, well, that's all. The bats, the ghosts, the scream masks, the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all of that stuff.
Do you want to just tell the listeners about your
The WhatsApp.
your pal from the WhatsApp?
I wonder if I could find an exit be on my phone. Someone I can't remember the context. They were probably complaining about the homeless. Again,
I
to be
almost
honest.
certainly think it was. Yeah.
And one of the suggestions to how, which as Declan alluded to, has since escalated to bleaching the homeless for reasons unknown, and to achieve effects that are unclear, albeit we can tell that they're broadly pain based.
yeah.
One of the original suggestions was that we hire Freddy Krueger to be our security guard so that he can, quote, sort out the nightmares, which is really not
Like he did in
his
that
vibe
famously
in that film.
It was he was being portrayed as a sort of bodyguard figure.
Yeah.
When I've only seen it maybe twice.
I've seen it a load of times, and at no
And
point
I
have
just-
I thought, I wish he was in.
I'm just sure that
Security services.
I'm just sure that he was very much like the antagonist.
Yeah, no, I got that as well, because he eats Johnny Depp as a sofa. Or as a bed even, he pulls him right into it, and then blood spew out. So that's not nice, and I don't know if that's what we need in our residential environment. I don't think it would happen.
I don't think he's going to be as pro us as that guy was hoping.
Pro nightmare, sure.
Big on the nightmare, but I think that the guy was anti nightmare.
Yeah, he was confused. I want to bring everyone together with an activity that we can all do and enjoy,
Okay.
and it's something that I know you've been asking for for directions for quite some time, so you'll be quite pleased that I found it on WikiHow. This is a fairly, it's co-authored by 12 people, but it's only been rated by 2, so I think it might be like a relatively new article.
Okay.
And it's how to decorate with alien cocoons for Halloween.
How to decorate with
yeah,
so as in how to use alien cocoons
in your decoration.
as decoration.
Yeah, exactly. You've got it.
And just for the more naive listeners, and I'm quite tired. Like I'm heading to bed in a minute. I'm quite tired. Just like for them and for me, what's
alien cocoons?
Yeah, thank you.
No, I'm glad you asked. We'll come to that.
Oh, okay, it feels pretty
essential.
Yeah,
you'll find out if it is or not. Tired of bats and zombies, but still determined to have the best display on the block? Turn your entryway into your lair, or that weird cave with all the baby sacks in Van Helsing. Go nuts for cheap. So that's something.
Go nuts for cheap.
With all these baby sacks.
With all these baby sacks, alien eggs.
Who knows? That's for us to find out.
Okay.
Number 1, create a backdrop for your lair, unless your walls look creepy enough to show through. So
that's a really thrifty way to do Halloween, is to have the creepiest fucking home already.
That is really good.
Have a home that's the walls are so creepy you can already use it as an alien egg sack backdrop.
Number 2, assuming you haven't gone for the live-in destitution vibe, cut and hang the backdrop. This is like wallpapering, only not as precise, sturdy,
or permanent.
Functional. Number 3, add torn strips of cheesecloth sprayed with fluorescent paint. Yeah?
I'm not going to argue.
Number 4, conceal 6 to 8 fog machines in the corners of the room. Fill the room
Firstly,
with
it's a room with
fog.
6 to 8 corners.
I think of it as 6 to 8 per corner.
Oh no!
Making for 32 fog machines.
Minimum.
Fill the room with thick fog to add atmosphere, and you can't deny that it would.
If you've got 40 fog machines,
Well, you'd be dead.
all that dry ice
barely
would
breathe
absolutely kill you.
Fix large strobe lights to the ceiling to give the room an otherworldly shock. So you with us?
What could that mean?
Number 6.
Oh, okay.
This kind of answers your question. Number 6, create the cocoons. Then number 7,
Is there any more info
there's
on?
a picture of some balloons wrapped in a cobweb.
And
like
can I
this.
just? But oh no!
It looks very testicular.
Oh, it looks very horrific. And that's cocoons, is
Yes,
it?
that's the cocoons. It says reserve 5 or 6 bags of web for the mother egg. And that's advice you can take to the bank.
Yeah,
That's actually in every WikiHow article.
you would be surprised how many people are naive enough to overlook
forget
that
that,
step.
yeah. And the mother egg.
The mother egg,
Well, it's out there,
it's barren.
fucked, isn't it?
It's
Quite
got 1 to 2 bags of web over it max.
Yeah, 28 fog machines spewing over it.
Yeah.
It won't hide that. Number 7, paint the cocoons. Layer on grey, black, any colour.
Oh, thanks for suggesting 2 near indistinguishable tones.
Then, of course, we're going to hang the cocoons in clusters from the ceiling.
They love to hang shit.
Hang them by their tails, it says,
Oh,
using carpentry staples and concealing any Albertsons logos that might show through. Now, I have no idea.
I don't know.
If I control F for Albertsons, it is the first time that's mentioned. So it's perhaps implicit to whatever.
Is that like a
is.
carpentry company, maybe, that's doing the staples?
Where you buy
I
the
don't
balloons
think that you should be stapling, like, certainly with carpentry staples, anything.
to the ceiling.
Certainly not.
Not where you've already affixed fuck off strobe lights for the other world.
Fuck off strobe lights, 40 new fog machines.
For me, I would have done the fog machines after all of the rest.
Would you?
Because I think,
Why?
Because I think hanging a cocoon, Albertsons or otherwise, in the midst of 32 fog machines, that's going to be harder than none. I would have piped the
I
fog into
suppose
last
you don't
resort.
have to have turned them on yet.
No, you do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
see.
Number 9, touch up the cocoons. Unless you didn't install a backdrop earlier. Deepen the shadows, hide floors, spray the tails to blend in. So that's good. And then, of course, number 10, add a final layer of web. You're going to uncoil and stretch your final
Over
bag of web.
everything.
Tear off a large chunk and spread it evenly across the cluster, reinforcing the cocoons and further screening them in mystery.
Mystery here meaning web.
Number 11. Add large latex rubber veins and water balloons coated with Vaseline.
I'm not going
and
to
thick
do
hair
this.
gel. I need to read that
No.
one again.
Why has this come back?
Add large latex rubber veins and water balloons coated with Vaseline and thick hair gel.
The last step was so clearly like the end one. It was a real finale. Why have we... This feels like, you know,
What's
doing
the
too
function
much.
of the large latex rubber veins and hair gel?
Well, to make them look
balloons?
alive and slimy, I suppose.
They'll just drip, won't they? Number 12. Add a thick coating of clear hair gel to all
There's
the
too much-
hanging Saxon veins.
Too much is being described as thick
and
here.
dangling globules.
Oh no!
Add food colouring to give the hair gel a tinted look. Then 13, we're going to add a generous amount of realistic stage blood by dipping a large brush into a can of blood and whipping it around the room. Like Dexter.
What I like is that it says cover it in stage blood and then says dipping a brush in a bucket of blood.
Yes.
It's possibly just an omission on their part, but it does also feel like they're asking me to just bleed myself.
Yeah. Number 14, clean up the scraps. Number 15, some suggestions. This is sort of a side step.
Okay, for people who want to go a bit further.
Yeah. Severed arms, intestines, rotten heads made of rubber with the eyes pulled out, also coated in non-toxic food like applesauce, dyed blue cottage cheese,
What's toxic food?
or tomato paste, non-toxic for the children. So that's good. I don't necessarily follow why you'd cover the head in dyed blue cottage cheese, but I guess that's everyone.
Well, come
everyone
on.
has their own.
That is spooky.
Number 16, they've sort of given up with the instructional technique of writing. It's no longer writing to inform or instruct, it's just writing.
Okay.
Number 16, rubber eyeballs are fixed to the sacks. Human ears. Animal bones strewn about the floor.
I just don't like the certainty of this. It makes it feel like they're going to come around and do it to us.
Plastic skulls in brown paint to simulate decay. These type of details will add to the shock effect, producing fun and thrills for all involved.
People will be shocked that you did such an enormous amount of bullshit
That they can't see,
for one
'cause it's covered in
measly
mist.
covered in mist and web, mist, web, and Vaseline.
Before I read number 17, I just want to get a gut check on
Fucking
the
whole room,
WikiHow picture.
whole room reeks of applesauce and blue cheese.
And this guy's there.
Oh,
give him a describo.
It's the pig killer from Saw.
Pig boy, but in a horrible sort of watercolour cartoon.
It's a piglin beast.
Number 17, hide in the closet.
Sorry, can you just tell me what's going on the screen, on the shopping
There's a
channel?
woman foaming her hand, senseless. She was frothing at the palm.
But I just don't know what she's attempting to
I
demonstrate.
think she's about
here.
to affix it to a cocoon.
Is she about to shave her own
palm.
hand?
17, hide in the closet with a bloody flannel shirt and latex pig mask covered in blood. Remove the chain from a chainsaw, and when the children enter the room, jump from closet, chainsaw roaring, and chase them around. The slippery surfaces of the hanging alien sack will frighten and gross out all involved. This is a variation.
As will
of
the man about to attack them.
This is a variation of the peeled grapes, kiddie haunted house of our youth. Number 18. Make sure you have a loud CD on infinite repeat. Use the sounds of hogs squealing in reverse and strange outer space synth to finish this frightening haunted basement. And then number 19. Have a fun and safe time with this image.
Oh, no.
Which I'm sure you can agree depicts our fun and safety.
Well, I can see the sacks, the globule sacks
Yeah.
hanging in the background.
Looks like old Chin here is about to have a munch of those sacks. We've got one comment in the community Q&A which says, would it be fine to use this as a gigantic spider's house? Yes, that would also be fine if you wanted to use that idea, if you have friends or family who are scared of spiders, but is better to go with the sacks.
Oh, okay.
So that's like...
There
you
is
can do it,
artistic
but
freedom,
there's-
but you don't want to take
Within
a piss.
reason,
Yeah,
within reason.
exactly.
We've explored today a whole host of Halloween
Oh,
activities.
goodness, we have.
Lots of reasons against the season, I suppose, but I kind of brought them up, I'll be honest. My intention as a journalist, investigatively, was to bring them up so that you could see that they're all quite ridiculous and that Halloween is good, because what other time of year could we be talking about sack and globule and thick latex rubber veins?
About noncing, about
about
Cat-noncing.
kitty diddling, as they call it. Declan, as Halloween approaches, and as next week we'll be doing another Halloween feature, what would be your message to people out there who, whatever time of year, they get that urge, that sense that they need to start getting spooky?
My message would be that it's never too early
Or
to
too late.
start.
Or too late.
No, because whether you love or despise the season, whether you've got reason for or reason against,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to be prepped.
You are.
Because both sides, it's a real go hard or go home
Yeah,
mentality.
you're either fighting the eternal battle on behalf of the Lord, or you're painting sacks since March. And either way,
You've been
it's a real
saving
time
up
sink.
all year to buy 20 bags of web and enough dry ice to kill an elephant. so really,
Be ready.
Either way, you're going to need to be prepared, and
This is
so I think that now
Yeah.
we're just under or just
Yeah,
over 2
couple of
weeks away
weeks.
from Halloween, and you might think, oh, no point. But if you don't start getting those
gonna be
sacks
left
hanging
behind.
now, if you don't get those smoke machines in,
Yeah, the ghost train's leaving the station.
if you don't start making your home look as destitute as possible,
Yeah.
if you don't pick up those test tubes, someone's just going to throw those away, and then you'll have nowhere to put your dirt.
That's really true. I've been Isaac. You've been.
I've been Declan.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.